Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're looking at a story simply titled The Man Who Kept Appearing. It's a true, chilling first-hand account of survival, and it really shows us exactly what happens when that comforting illusion of safety just completely shatters. It's honestly a masterclass in situational awareness, but more than that, it's a stark reminder of how quickly a dream vacation can flip into a desperate fight for your life. So I want you to imagine something for a second. What is the absolute worst sound you could possibly hear when traveling alone? Really put yourself in this scenario. You're completely isolated in an unfamiliar tropical town. It's 2 a.m., the streets are dead quiet, and suddenly you hear a noise that makes your blood run absolutely cold. Tap, tap, tap. Footsteps stop right outside your window. Just like that, in a split second, that peaceful getaway you meticulously planned has morphed into an absolute waking nightmare. The safety of your locked room suddenly feels, well, incredibly fragile. Section 1. A Deceptive Paradise. Our narrator arrived in this tropical town, famous for its stunning beaches and forests, expecting, a quiet, peaceful, and safe retreat where literally nobody knew their name. But as you'll see, that reality shattered fast. It was quickly replaced by this terrifying sensation of being totally isolated and hunted. Which brings us to Section 2, Coincidence, or Calculated Threat. Now, for the first 3 days, everything felt incredibly safe. The narrator was trying local foods, renting a scooter, doing all the typical tourist stuff. But then this chilling timeline emerges. Day 4 kicks off with a strange encounter at a cafe. 20 minutes later, a standoff at a gas station. By day 5, the stalker is at the beach, and it all culminates in a 2 a.m. visit to the hotel window. This wasn't just a tourist's passing paranoia. This was a calculated hunt. Let's break down that very first red flag. It's day 4. Our narrator stops at a small roadside cafe for dinner. While paying the bill, they notice a man sitting alone outside. He wasn't eating. He wasn't talking to anyone. He was just watching the entrance. And honestly, at the time, the narrator just brushed it off. Which, let's be real, is exactly what most of us would do when our guard is down on vacation. But about 20 minutes later, things escalated. While riding a rented scooter back to the hotel, our narrator noticed a black motorcycle mirroring their every single move. Every time they slowed down, it slowed too. Every time they accelerated, it stayed the exact same distance behind. Talk about a terrifying realization, right? So the protagonist smartly decides to test the waters with some defensive maneuvers. They pull into a gas station just to see what the rider would do. The motorcycle passes, but instead of driving off into the night, it stops farther ahead and just waits. After a super tense 15-minute wait, the narrator takes a completely different route back to the hotel. Everything looked normal, but unfortunately, the threat was far from over. The sheer audacity of what happens the next afternoon is just staggering. While walking the shoreline at the beach, the narrator completely froze. That exact same black motorcycle was parked beneath a palm tree. And the rider? He's standing nearby, wearing a dark jacket and sunglasses, despite the fact that it was a really cloudy sky. He was closing the distance, even walking behind the narrator on the way back to the hotel, always staying just close enough to make sure they couldn't stop thinking about him. Section 3. Nowhere to hide. After retreating to the hotel, locking the door, and basically trying to convince themselves they were just overreacting, the true horror arrived in the dead of night. It's around 2 a.m. The narrator wakes up to those tapping footsteps we talked about at the beginning. They stop right beside the window. And then the doorknob slowly turns. Just once. Imagine your heart rate in this moment, as someone is standing right outside your locked door, physically testing the perimeter. Panic sets in. The narrator grabs their phone, dials the front desk, desperately seeking some kind of help. But all they get is silence. No answer. The reception is closed overnight, and there is no security guard coming. The narrator realizes they are absolutely and utterly alone in the crushing quiet of that room. A few agonizing seconds later, the knob turns again, harder this time. The footsteps move from the door over to the window. Carefully, the narrator pulls back just a tiny corner of the curtain, and there he was, a man crouching directly beneath the window, staring right inside. The second he noticed the curtain move, he stood up and just melted into the darkness. Needless to say, our narrator didn't sleep a wink for the rest of that night. Section 4. The Aftermath. At sunrise, literally the moment the sun came up, the narrator rushed out to report everything to the hotel manager. And without even saying a word, the manager pulls up a photo from a local community warning group. It was the exact same guy. It turns out he had been reported by several visitors over the past year, lurking near hotels, beaches, and parking lots. Nobody knew exactly what he wanted, and somehow, whenever the police were called, he would just vanish into thin air.
Section 5. The Final Stare.
Obviously, after seeing that photo, the protagonists packed their bags in minutes. The manager arranged a taxi to get them far away, back into the city. And for the first hour of that drive, the narrator finally started to feel a fleeting sense of safety. But during a quick, seemingly safe stop at a convenience store to grab a bottle of water, the nightmare reared its head one last time as they looked out through the glass window of the store. Right across the road, parked under a tree, was the black motorcycle. The rider sat perfectly still, watching the store, watching our narrator. As soon as their eyes locked, he started the engine, turned around, and slowly disappeared down the road. And he was never seen again. To this day, the narrator has traveled all over the world, faced massive storms, super dangerous roads, but nothing even comes close to the terror of that night. And what really gets under your skin is the why. Was it an attempted robbery, a break-in, or was it just the sick thrill of terrifying a total stranger? Honestly, it's that complete lack of answers, the unresolved nature of his intent, that makes this whole ordeal so hauntingly relatable. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to reflect on the importance of trusting your gut instincts. When something feels wrong, it usually is. Don't brush it off. I'm going to leave you to consider this chilling final question, one that this whole story basically forces us to ask ourselves. Have you ever truly been alone? Thanks so much for joining me.